I was at a khutbah here at Karimia, and Dr. Musharraf just mentioned something about his translation soon to be done, and he said it just glossing over part of discussions, and I was just like, wait, what did you just? Are you just talking about a Quran translation that you just did, and you're just talking about it by the way, you know? So after the khutbah, I met him. It's like, okay, I think you mentioned something about a translation. Did you, when you said your translation, did you mean you actually did the translation, or is it just a translation that you own or something? It's like, no, it's actually a translation I've been working on. We've been working on. I think it's a very good addition to translations. It's able to just capture, I think more than all the other translations, it introduces a reader to the fact that translations are part of a discourse. And because it has one of the shortest introductions, I think, in which it's straight to the point, saying, okay, this, also being transparent, saying this is what affected my translations of it. This is my aim in doing this translation, and these are the things I try to incorporate while doing that. And I am aware of this and this and this in case you think it's a deficiency, right? So to be able to do that, and I think in about 3 or 4 pages, whereas you have all the other translations just being quite bulky. And I think this is perhaps why people don't get to read those introductions, because much of the author's input or perspective is captured there. And keeping true to its approach, which is to just make it simple and accessible, I think it was able to reflect that well in the themes. So in introducing some of the sections, it brings out some of the themes you're expecting to come across. The sections is really something new, just because it took me a while just reading translations to realize that there are sections within a surah. Other translations, they use the fancy font beginning a paragraph or something would indicate a new section, and if you don't pay attention to it, you just gloss over. And perhaps it's also why the Quran seems incoherent to many people, because you're not aware of this separation, these sections, because you don't see a full stop in Arabic, right? In the Quran anyway. So you're not sure if you don't speak Arabic. But it did this so well that it gave them subheadings. So in a sense, it's more than just showing you that sections do exist, but it's also holding your hands and saying, okay, you know what? I know you're trying to go deep into this material, but you know what, just to prepare your mind, here's that. Just this is what this section is covering. So that would also add to how a reader would appreciate the Quran as a discourse, because a lot of the textual analysis that happen, or one aspect of textual analysis for scriptures, would be to show the internal coherence. Having these subsections just make it so easy to see a flow and a story being told. I would add another thing I liked about it is also its focus on devotion and transformation. It's not, I would say my perception of it is not so much academic. It's really there to do part of what the Quran is supposed to do, which is to change you, to inspire you, to guide you. And so there are, I think, concepts in some of the introductions. There are some concepts you're being prepared to watch out for, which is sort of like I would say it's like niyyah in a sense. You're just preparing your mind. And I think this works with so many other things. If you were to begin a task with a certain something in mind you're looking for, then it makes it much easier in terms of being goal-oriented. So I think generally, just having all of these things together makes it a read that ends up transforming you, because now you're looking at this concept and this and that. And by the time you read it, it's just coming from the Quran. It's more powerful and more digestible, and then it sits well with you, I think. I liked all of those features about it. Yes, I will definitely recommend it. So I would recommend it to someone who is just starting with translations. It's friendlier than many, not as daunting as many other translations. It's because of the language and how it can easily use the reader to the discourse nature of translation, that it's actually a human process. Someone sat, thought about this thing, reflected on it, and then is presenting what they think about it, right? It's much easier to see it in the Majestic Quran. And I think that type of relationship is what every Muslim is ultimately supposed to have with the Quran. It's a living discourse. It's not as simplistic as many would want. It's something you should refer to, have dialogues with, and just always, get new insights from. And I think the Majestic Quran does a wonderful job of doing that.